What up, guys? The Bench Buddies are back with our Week 15 NFL picks and preview. As always, I have Ethan joining me here to break down this week's video. But before we get into it, subscribe to the channel to be entered into our giveaway.
What's up, guys? It's good to be back. We both had a rough week at 6-9 last week. Just a lot of games that didn't go our way. As you'll see later in our spread betting and our locks. But there were a lot of just crazy games this weekend, and fortunately, we were on the wrong side of all of them, huh?
Yeah, didn't really bode well for us this week, so we're going to skip that. And don't even look at my sections either.
Oh, and fun.
0 and 5. The week before I went 5 and 0, so I guess it kind of evens out. But you did all right with 2 and 3 last week with those teams winning as well. And then this is the week where we get back on track. We're both going with the Raiders at home tonight against the Chargers. 3 points, I feel like it's not enough. I mean, I know that, hey, they didn't score last week and then lost 3-0, but that offense is due to explode here, and I think they will. Cincy covers against Minnesota. Hopefully, it's a game where Cincinnati has control heading into the fourth and they can just run away with it. Denver, I think they go into Detroit and maybe pull off an upset. You'll have to stay tuned for later. Miami, I think they're ready to break out again, after last week's, horrendous performance in the last 3 minutes. Then I have Dallas going on the road, +2. Dallas is one of the hottest teams in football right now, and I guess technically Buffalo would be after they just won an Arrowhead. But for Dallas, they can just, put their foot on Buffalo's throat here, get them right back to 500 and kind of still chasing that last playoff spot.
Yeah, those sound like some winners, and these are also some winners right here. Obviously Las Vegas, talk about that. So Tampa Bay +3.5 at Green Bay. That half point's going to be crucial. I think this is going to be a close game. It's going to be a nail biter all day,
Mhm.
especially with the way that Tampa Bay's been playing hot and Green Bay just dropped one against the Giants on Monday night. So um, next we got the Jets +8.5. Just too many points for Miami. I know they're at home. But Zach Wilson just put up 30 points last week. I mean, come on. We got to go with the Jets here. And then we got Rams -6.5. That's a lock. Seattle +4 at home against Philadelphia. That's also a lock.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we'll jump into the tonight game, Thursday Night Football, battle of 5 and 8. And I know these teams all still mathematically have a chance, but if you lose, you're out. And if you win, you need a lot to happen. But we're obviously going with the Raiders here at home just because without Herbert, we don't know what this Chargers offense is going to be. And
Yeah.
this defense got exposed last week to Denver. And I think the Raiders on a short week can go and get a win at home. And then we'll jump to Saturday's picks.
Yes,
And
sir.
I like the Bengals here because I think they're the most consistent team with a backup quarterback this year. It's only been 2 games with Browning, but we've seen what the Bengals can do in this offense. They're not really missing a step. I mean, it's not Joe Burrow, but it's pretty dang close to his performance, and these Bengals haven't missed a beat.
Yeah, Browning's just like Joe Burrow. He's just the accuracy, and obviously he's not just like Joe Burrow, but just completing passes and just helping move that offense down the field, not doing too much. I'm going with the Bengals as well, and Josh Dobbs has been demoted to the emergency quarterback, the third string quarterback. So the insanity is over for Josh Dobbs. He had a great run, and we're gonna miss him up here.
And then we got at 4:30 your Steelers going on the road to Indy. Are you going to the game?
No, I'm not going to the game. Got
Okay.
family
Not
going.
going to the game, but it's a big one for both of these teams. And I'm liking the Steelers on the road here. Hopefully Pickett is back this week. I mean, he's probably not going to be back, but there's the hope. There's still always the hope. And if Trubisky is the guy, or maybe Mason Rudolph gets some action here, they're going to lose if Rudolph has to come into the game. But I don't think that's the case. I think Trubisky bounces back well, and they pull off a shocking upset on the road.
Yeah, the Colts are a tough defense too, so I think this is going to be a dogfight all day long. The Colts always play tough at home, so I am worried about this game a little bit with 7, 6 teams. But I got to go with the Steelers as well. I think whoever's our quarterback doesn't really matter. It's going to be a dogfight all day, and it's probably going to come down to a field goal. So let's ride the Steeler Nation, baby.
And then to close it out Saturday night, you got the Broncos going on the road to Detroit. A lot of my friends will be here at this game, and I'm sorry to break all their hearts, but I'm going with Denver here right now. The last 3 weeks, the Lions have not looked good. 5-point win over New Orleans that they almost blew, and then lost this last week and on Thanksgiving to the Packers. I don't know. It just doesn't seem like it's not the same old Lions, but they're just in a position where they haven't been in so long that I don't think they know how to play in that position. And for that reason, I'm going with a more experienced coach when they're battling adversity, and I'm
Denver.
going with Denver here and Sean Payton.
See, I was thinking about this pick as well. I also had it on my locks at first, but I'm gonna take the Lions, and it's just because they're at home this week. They're playing indoors. I think this offense has a great opportunity to really get bouncing back this week, and I think they need to. I think Dan Campbell's gonna start biting the kneecaps off again, and the boys are gonna start rolling at home. It's gonna be a great game, but if Detroit scores more than 27, I don't think Denver can keep up with them. So I'm taking Detroit.
Then moving to Sunday, got my Packers at home. Big game for both of these teams. Tampa could possibly take the NFC South lead if they win this one, and then Green Bay could still be in that 7 spot or possibly move up if they win this one. And I'm going with my Packers here. The letdown last week, they didn't deserve to win that game at all in New York with all those turnovers, bad play calling, so on and so forth. And I think they got to rewrite it here. And this is a good team to face because this is a comparable team to where they're at right now in the season, and it's going to be a dogfight in the trenches. And if Aaron Jones can play in this one, I like the Packers.
Yeah, I like the Packers as well. It was a rough game last week, but Tampa Bay just came off a huge win, and I think this is a tough game to go into Lambeau. Uh, Sunday, it's going to be cold. I just got to take the Packers here, and I just think that the Buccaneers, they come off of such a high energy win, and there's got to be a little bit of a letdown, along with the Packers coming off a really brutal loss in MetLife. So Jordan Love is going to get back to it this week. I do trust in that man. He's been really solid. So gotta take the home team, with the Packers here.
And a game that should go the Falcons' way, and they're only favored by 3, meaning Vegas might know something. I'm still going with the Falcons here on the road. It's tough to pick a 1-12 team to pull off an upset. And, I don't think this is the week that's going to happen. So the Falcons are going to get back to 7-7 and stay atop the NFC South.
Yeah, this is a big game for the Falcons this week. They looked really promising a couple weeks back. Did not look good against Tampa Bay, although it did take that monster drive from Baker Mayfield to get it done. I got to go with the Falcons here. I think Bijan gets back on track, and that run game gets back on track this week against one of the worst rushing defenses in the NFL. They do have a good passing defense, though, so that's why I think this is just a good matchup for the Falcons. Even though it's on the road, I think it's going to make it a little tougher. Like you said, with that spread at -3 it's closer than you'd think, but that's just because the Falcons can't really score points like that. A lot of field goals, but I think they still win it here.
In a game where the Bears, have been playing some good football, and the Browns are starting to figure it out now with Joe Flacco. And that's the reason why I think the Browns are starting to find consistency with Flacco and with a backup quarterback this year because they've really struggled with the other 3 backups and DTR Walker. And then now Flacco hopefully can be the guy. And I think Flacco can lead this team to a playoff berth. And, they're going to be a team you don't want to play with that defense. And if the offense can get clicking, you're not going to want to see them in the wild card round. And I think they're going to take another step to getting to a playoff berth.
I gotta take the Bears here, and I gotta go with the upset. They've been playing really good as of late, accumulating I think 7 or 8 interceptions over the last 3 weeks. So I think they're gonna pick off Joe Flacco. I think the Bears are gonna win it this week. They got a lot of momentum going forward, and if they can get to 6-8, they do have a shot at this wild card. Surprisingly, but yeah, Justin Fields is gonna be running all over them Bears, all over Myles Garrett this week.
And then in a game where the Jets pretty much need to win out to possibly get in the playoffs. Don't think that's going to happen. I think Miami is going to be ticked off from last week's loss at home on Monday Night Football. And Tyreek, even if he doesn't play, wants to nurse the ankle injury, they're going to still find ways to get to their playmakers in Achane, Mostert, Waddle, whoever they're going to, decide to be the guy that night. I think the Jets defense is good, but you can't stop speed, and that's all the Dolphins have.
Yeah, yep, definitely right about that. I'm taking the Dolphins as well, but 8.5 is too many points. I think it's going to be a close game, and I think the Jets are going to have them on their heels. If they put some pressure on them, then this could be a different story. But Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, A-Chain, Mostert, they just have way too much speed and dynamic ability on their offense,
Mhm.
and the Jets offense is not going to be able to keep up with the Dolphins. So if they do win, it has to be a low scoring game. It's got to be a real low scoring game.
And in a game where both of these teams are in the thick of the playoff race, the Giants have won three straight now under DeVito, and I think they're going to get to four here, upset the Saints on the road. And the Saints have been one of those very inconsistent teams this year where they win, lose, win, lose. You don't know what Saints team you're going to get. And I think this is a Derek Carr letdown game. In DeVito, they're playing some really good football in New York. He just won Player of the Week for the NFC. And if they can get Saquon rushing the ball and really gash this Saints rush defense, it's going to open up the air for DeVito and all his wide receivers. And, they're starting to get a lot of receivers involved, which I like, meaning that this Giants offense is starting to click under Dable. And who knows, maybe this DeVito guy might be the next possible Brock Purdy and replace the starting quarterback heading into next year.
Yeah, I think that's a very valid take. DeVito's look great, and I think he's going to continue it this week. But um, just the Saints at home. I think if this was in New York, I'd be taking the Giants as well. But the Saints are just a better team at home. They always have been, and I think they'll get it done this week. And it's a big game for them too, because everybody's in the thick of things in the NFC South, and somebody's got to win it. So I don't know. I guess the Saints, if they win this, they got a pretty good shot.
In a game where both of these teams still have a shot at the AFC South and definitely a wild card berth. But those Titans have to win out. One of those teams has to win out. And the Texans, even without Stroud, more than likely, I'm still going with them. And this one is going to have to rely on the run game. Devin Singletary, Dameon Pierce really hasn't broke out, and I think this is a game where he can, because we saw what Mostert and Achane did last week to the Titans defense. Kind of just, ho-hum, just got past them, didn't really stop them that much. And I think they're going to really establish the run game in the first half, and I think that's going to carry them to an ugly but win.
Well, this year, the Titans have been brutally bad on the road, and they've been really good at home. So, Titans at home this week. I think D Hop's going to go have a monster week, and I think just back up the same performances last week. So, Titans at home. I think we got to roll with it here, especially with Stroud being hurt. I mean, not a lot of things excite me about the Texans roster other than CJ Stroud and their receivers. So, yeah, I got to take the Titans here. They're gonna control the ball all day.
And then you got the Chiefs going on the road to face Bill Belichick and the Patriots. Patriots obviously coming off a big win over the Steelers last Thursday. And then the Chiefs, another letdown game for them against Buffalo. Kadarius Toney with a -2 WAR so far this year. And I don't know, this Chiefs team, it's not the same Chiefs team that we've seen for a while. And I think they're going to win this one. It's not going to be pretty. They'll probably be around covering. So I'm definitely staying away from this line. But the Chiefs will win this one, get to 9-5, and still hold a one-game lead over the Broncos in the AFC West.
Well, yeah, you are right. The Chiefs have not looked the same, and coming out after the meltdown last week with the whole offsides from Kadarius Toney, I think they got to come back and let those things fire this week. I think Toney is going to score a touchdown because he has to. He has to this week, or he's gone. So,
Mhm.
yeah, there's not much to get excited about the Patriots. They had a really nice win last week against my Steelers, and that's because the Steelers suck and the Chiefs don't suck. So there it is.
Great pick there. And we're going to move to the 4 o'clock games with the Niners and the Cardinals. And I'm going with the Niners here because they are no doubt right now the best team in football. I mean, you can't really say there's anyone better. I mean, Dallas is on the same level, but we saw what San Francisco did to Dallas already this year. It's just tough to put those in the same class. And the Niners on the road here, 12.5. I still feel like that's not enough points for these Cardinals. McCaffrey could rip off a 200-yard game and Purdy could still throw for 300 and put up 49, and it could be only the end of the third quarter just because of how dynamic this offense is. And then you got to try to stop Chase Young and Bosa. And, teams have been struggling with that right now, and a beat up O line in the Cardinals. Good luck stopping that.
Yeah. Yeah, this is going to be a rough game. You basically covered it, so I think we're good here.
And then you have the Rams and Commanders, and we were talking before we started this video, who's going to be the receiver for the Rams that goes off? It's going to either be Puka or Cooper Kupp, and maybe even DeMarcus Randall or Robinson, sorry, just because, these Commanders defensive backs have been just destroyed all year. All the number ones have cooked against them. I mean, look at the DJ Moore game in week 4 or 5. He just exposed this defense. And since that game, the Commanders haven't been the same team. And the Rams are starting to pick it up here and turn it on when it matters most. So I think the Rams are going to get to 500 here and be a sneaky team floating around the playoffs in a few weeks.
Yeah, I think the Rams are going to win this game, and I actually think the Rams are going to make the playoffs. I mean, their schedule, I believe, I'm not 100% positive, but I think they have the hardest schedule in all of football this year. If you look at the ratings for that, uh, and 6-7 with Stafford, and nobody really expected them to be this good this year, which is they have all the pieces to make a run in the playoffs, and it starts with this week. They got to get a win. If they don't win this week, then I mean, they still have a shot to make the playoffs, obviously, because Seattle has been
Mm.
terrible as well. So, but yeah, I gave me the Rams. They've been playing hot football. Cooper Kupp and Puka, I think they're both going to go off along with Kyron Williams. So,
And then at 425, Cowboys Bills probably will be either the game of the week, this one, or the next one you're going to see. And I'm going with the boys on the road after that dominating win over Philly. I mean, yeah, I guess they're due for a letdown, but so is Buffalo here. Buffalo goes into Arrowhead and gets that win and gets them back on track. So I think these two teams are going to come in at a great time to face each other, both
yeah.
coming off big wins. And who's going to keep that momentum going into week 16? I'm going with Dallas.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Buffalo. I think home field advantage is huge here. It's got to be cold in New York this week. And we just don't know how the Cowboys are going to respond. I think it's going to be a great game. I don't think you're going to get a letdown from either team or either quarterback. But I just think I think the Bills are going to be able to drive that thing down the field. The Cowboys might be able to cause a couple turnovers. That's what they're good for. I got to take the Bills at home with Josh Allen, who looked like the best quarterback in the league yesterday or last Sunday.
And then at 820, another candidate for the game of the week, Ravens, Jaguars. And I'm going in the upset pick here in the Jaguars. I think if Jacksonville can get this win, they're going to establish themselves as one of the teams to beat in the AFC, and you're not going to want to face them at home because if you can beat the best team in the AFC right now at home, you could possibly face them in the playoffs at their place, and you won't be scared of them because you've already beat them once. And I think this is going to be a franchise-changing win here for the rest of the year if the Jaguars win this one, and I think that's what's going to happen.
I'm going to take the Ravens on the road here. I just think they're going to be able to run the ball really efficiently this week with the Jags defense kind of been shaky as of late, the last couple weeks. So taking the Ravens here on the road, Sunday Night Football, it's going to be a big stage. And like you said, this is a big game for the AFC and the confidence of both teams, really.
And then Monday Night Football should be a good one here. I know the Seahawks have lost 4 of the last 5 games, and they've been struggling a little bit, but so is Philly, and both these teams have been struggling here these last few weeks. And I think Philly's going to get back on track here. Hurts is due to have a good game and hopefully can throw the ball well in this one. And I think this is a game where they need to figure out how to throw the ball moving forward when they are down or if it's a close game because besides the Buffalo game, Jalen Hurts has really had has struggled throwing the ball in my opinion, um, in the mid range when they need it the most. And I think this is a good week to figure that out.
I think I think Gino's gonna have a big game this week. I'm taking Seattle. I think K9, Gino, DK, especially DK. If he plays, I'm not he's supposed to play, isn't he? Just didn't know because of that ejection last week. So yeah, DK and Gino are gonna go crazy this week. Eagles still might win. I think this is gonna be a high scoring game because you really can get that from Seattle when their offense is moving. They can score with the best of them. And the Eagles defense has been terrible all year long. So I think it's going to be a close game. I'm taking Seattle, but I'm not the most confident in it. I like it because they're at home, but Eagles could definitely get back on track this week with a win here.
Yeah, and that'll be it for this week's video. Check back next week to see how we did for our picks. and for Week 16 preview. We're just a month away from playoff football, so stay tuned as we're going to be uploading more content. But until the next time, the Bench Buddies are out.
Peace.